Callisto Protocol. I'm not really quite sure what to think about you, my friend. On one hand, your combat is at least somewhat serviceable, but your story was just so unfocused and literally had to trick us into making its twist work. I heard about Callisto Protocol's DLC. Oh yes, I did. I heard that it was coming out in the near future. I didn't really pay it too much mind. But then when I saw that the DLC was half price and it hasn't even come out yet, oh, you know that it's going to be bad. But yes, it was tantalizing. Just like a stepsister caught in a window. And what kind of stepbro would I be if I didn't help her out and have some fun along the way? Okay, maybe that was a little too far. But for real, this review is going to be a little bit different than the other reviews that I do. Okay, because normally I go through the story and then to the gameplay and then give my final thoughts as well as anything else that needs to be addressed. But unfortunately, there's really not much story to go over here. I mean, seriously. I mean, yeah, maybe some Callisto Protocol stands might be pissed off at me for saying that. But, I mean, literally it's the truth. There's nothing here. I mean, there's no real meat and potatoes to this story here. I mean, the story is so lackluster, I can literally sum it up here in less than a minute. So, Callisto Protocol stands, please excuse yourself from the video so you don't get spoiled. But I assure you, there's literally nothing to spoil, okay? Here we go. So Jacob is woken up by Muller. Muller tells him that he needs to meet her by the escape shuttle so they can get the hell out of there. He tries to go over there, but he stumbles across one of her previous creations and beats the fucking shit out of it with his police baton. But uh-oh, he got a police brutality charge because he broke his damn baton. And now he's got to go find something else to beat the shit out of monsters with. So he finds fucking Thor's hammer in the middle of nowhere. And this thing cuts through enemies like butter. Muller, for some reason, meets you by the incinerator and gets grabbed by one of these robots that are half robotic, half infection. And she gets some super awesome tentacle happy ending down her throat before getting thrown into the trash fire. Don't worry, the rest of this game will soon follow it. Anyways, Jacob goes down there to, I guess, try to find her. But obviously she's turned into this ginormous monster and she tries to beat the shit out of you. And I swear to God, this was probably one of the bosses that I died to the most. But yeah, and then you beat him and then you get onto the escape shuttle, even though that Muller is still messaging you to come save her. And Jacob just kind of gets on the ship anyways and light speeds out of there. But then this is the big twist, and I gotta admit the twist is a little bit better than the original game's twist, but literally only by a little. It turns out that when Jacob was covering Danny while she was escaping, he actually did get super fucked up from that. So much so that Muller's skinny ass was able to haul his non-existent ass all the way up to wherever the hell her office is and download the contents of his brain and his experiences out into the vastness of space so that someone somewhere might be able to transmit the data and figure out what the super secret Illuminati types are actually doing. And then a bunch of rubble falls on them and that's the end of the game. Literally. And if you thought that that was a terrible way to end a story, then oh boy, you ain't even played the base game. Because trust me, this is at least a better ending because it at least makes fucking sense. The other ending does not make sense. Check out my original Callisto Protocol review if you'd want more detail on that. I mean, I really don't even know what to think about this. I mean, I've literally played DLC side missions that are more compelling and longer than this DLC. Now, that being said, it wasn't all shit, okay? There actually was some good moments in the story, such as when Jacob is going through this repeating hallway and he finds a tape recording of himself basically losing his mind, saying that the never-ending hallways are repeating and nothing makes sense. Then there's also this other scene where right after you get the hammer, you just start smashing your way through all of these enemies like you're the only frat bro in a sorority party. And it was actually kind of cool because you start smashing through them, and then eventually they actually just fucking scatter because they realize you're just super overpowered. And I gotta admit, it actually felt kind of good. It felt like it was a nice little victory lap for this game, but only briefly. And then, of course, there's more finishing moves, which I do admit they actually do look kind of cool. And, of course, there's more death animations, which, of course, yeah, they do look pretty cool. And, yeah, there's like 13 new death animations or something. But, yeah, they actually don't look half bad. They're actually pretty good. But seriously, though, like, you had to bundle it into a DLC, like, come on. Then you also have to sit there for what feels like 5 minutes while their logo striking distance just is there on the screen. And at first I thought that it was actually broken because they weren't showing any credits, maybe due to some sort of internal strife in the development community. Like, I don't know exactly why they didn't put the credits in here, but yeah, it's actually kind of a funny end credit scene where Josh, the guy who actually voices Jacob, kind of talks to you, the player, directly. It was kind of funny. And speaking of this guy Josh, he's actually been in quite a lot of stuff, but I'll always know him as Discount Pedro Pascal. I'm just kidding. This guy's actually done some really good voice acting work. One thing I will say that I actually enjoyed and played for longer than I did the actual story is Riot Mode. Which, I mean, first off, I have to admit my biases here. I do kind of like wave modes where you just keep facing upon stronger and stronger enemies and you see how long you can survive for. You know, kind of like Call of Duty Zombies. I really sort of like that experience, and it does kind of deliver you that. It actually does change up the formula quite a bit. For example, you're only allowed one primary weapon and one secondary weapon. So basically one pistol and one long-barreled gun. And essentially the more money you put into these boxes that have the gun icons on them, the higher upgrades you'll get for that weapon. Until eventually it will max out and you just have to pay an exorbitant price for the ammunition in general. But yeah, it's your basic wave survival mode. I mean, you kill the enemies, you get more points, you use the points to buy more weapons and items, and then you also have a score, which is how good you're doing overall. You can also do some side objectives for arguably minuscule better things. Sometimes you have to dodge 10 or maybe 15 hits within the course of like a minute, and then you'll be gifted 80 health points. Or you have to run around and find Eliza's stash box, and you might get rewarded by some ammunition for your currently equipped gun, or some Callisto credits. You can also unlock these like permanent perks right before you start the match, and they can do anything from heal you 5 points every round, decrease the damage you receive by 10%, have every end of a combo deliver 3 times the amount of damage, or have some of the harder enemies drop more loot. So that is kind of cool, I guess. And it really is kind of fun just to mow down dudes and slice and dice them with the baton and just see how long you can survive. Although I will admit this does wear off pretty quickly, because I got to about round 60 and it took me about 2 hours and I just got bored. Like, seriously, I was just bored. I literally died because I just wasn't paying attention and I ran into this trap like an idiot. And that's also another thing. The mode is just too easy. I mean, when I played this game, I was on the hardest difficulty, and I think Riot Mode is actually on the easiest difficulty, because I can literally tank hits from these big boys and it doesn't even hurt my dude at all. I'm kind of surprised why you can't connect your score to the leaderboard. Like, I mean, yeah, I know I'm not going to be number 1, but I at least want to know, you know? Through this mode and through the DLC itself, you get to unlock a few color options for your suit, which I gotta admit, they actually do look a little bit cool, but I am not at all going to play through the game to see how they look. Like, seriously, I'm good. So yeah, Basically, Callisto Protocol is just one of those very strange types of games where it's not bad enough for me to outright hate it, but it's also not good enough for me to praise it to the rooftops. It falls into that mediocrely forgettable category. Maybe when we look upon this 10 years down the line, maybe there will be some people, or maybe even myself, will come to realize how good it was back then, and maybe we'll long for, this type of game. But I don't know. I just feel the game had a good combat system, but the story just falls flat. That's all they really needed to do. They just needed to nail the story. And just like the base game, it falls flat. It was doing pretty good. You set up some interesting plot points, and then boom, it fell right on its face. But here's what everybody's been waiting for, my ranking. I would say this game is average. It's not great, not terrible. It's just okay, and that might actually be a little bit worse than the original game, but trust me, it definitely is. It's just average. You can beat the game in 5 hours if you're fast enough, probably even quicker than that. But yeah, what would I rank this game? 5 horse armors out of 10. Average. Thank you guys very much for listening to my review. I hope that you were entertained by this review. If you were, please leave a like and subscribe. And also leave a comment. Do you think this guy actually does kind of look like Pedro Pascal? I do kind of see the similarities here, But anyways, yeah, so I know I haven't really been posting too much or too often. So I was thinking in between some of these reviews I've been doing to just kind of share my thoughts on gaming as a whole, or maybe just sort of do a review on a game, or at least what I think about a game, maybe an impressions video, or maybe even just discuss an aspect of gaming that I've been thinking about for quite some time. Like how almost all of the best games that have come out within the past year or two have been remakes, or about how the focus that video game developers have shifted to graphics is going to bottleneck at some point. And when it does, what will happen? Or maybe just go over some news. I've been looking to experiment a little bit. But anyways, that being said, just look out for some cool stuff in the future. That being said, I'm Mr.LetsGame. I hope you have a great day. Peace.